Have you ever felt the sting of rejection so deep it made you question your worth? A friend walking away, a door that slammed shut, a room where your name was never called. Rejection cuts into the soul. But what if I told you? It's not punishment, it's protection. Think of gold in fire. The heat rises, impurities surface, and the dross burns away. What remains is pure, priceless, untouchable. Rejection works the same way. It strips away what doesn't belong, leaving only what God destined to remain. Here's what most people miss. When someone rejects you, when an opportunity closes, it's often heaven itself saying, "This is not your path." That no is what positions you for a greater yes. In this video, we'll uncover the spiritual reasons behind rejection and how every closed door can be God's way of protecting your destiny. Stay with me until the very end, because the final truth is the one most chosen ones overlook, and it unlocks your calling. If your spirit already feels this word stirring in you, pause for a moment. Hit like, subscribe, and share this message, so it can reach others who need it now. Rejection isn't random. It follows a pattern. And in the very first stage of that pattern lies something most mistake as abandonment. But in reality, it's the foundation of destiny. Number 1, rejection is separation. When people begin to distance themselves from you, when relationships shift without explanation, it may feel like abandonment. But in the spiritual realm, it's often the opposite. It's divine separation. Picture a shepherd walking through his flock. He notices one sheep limping. He doesn't leave it in the crowd. He pulls it aside, not because it's worthless, but because it's precious. It needs healing before it can run again. That's how God works with you. He removes you from circles that once felt safe. He allows people to misunderstand you, misjudge you, even walk away. Why? Because if you stayed, you'd never heal, never grow into the destiny He has prepared. Think back. Friendships dissolved, jobs slipped away, invitations never came. You probably asked, "What's wrong with me?" But separation wasn't rejection of your worth. It was preservation of your calling. Separation feels like loss, and loss hurts. That's why many chosen ones struggle here. They cling to people, places, old identities, not realizing heaven is removing what can't go where they're being sent. Think of a rocket launching. At first, it carries heavy boosters. But once high enough, the boosters fall away. Not because they were bad, but because they were temporary. They carried you for a season, but can't follow you into orbit. Some people in your life were boosters. If they stayed, they would hold you back. Here's the challenge. In separation, silence becomes your teacher. The phone stops ringing. Invitations stop coming. You sit in rooms where you once felt seen and now feel invisible. But that silence isn't rejection. It's an invitation to hear God's voice more clearly. When others step back, God steps closer. Some of you have prayed, "Lord, use me, show me my purpose." And then people walked away. You thought you were being ignored, but God was answering. He was pulling you apart so you could finally hear Him, without the noise of other voices. Have you noticed this? Times when God answered not by giving, but by removing. That's separation. Here's the prophetic key. The pain of separation proves preparation. Heaven won't allow you to carry old baggage into a new season. Don't fight the pruning. Don't chase what walked away. Don't beg doors to reopen. Trust that if it closed, it was never meant to hold your destiny. Separation is not abandonment. It's alignment. Alignment with your healing, your identity, your next level. But separation is only the beginning. Because once God pulls you away, once you're standing apart, another test comes. And this time, it isn't about who is with you, but about who you really are when you're alone. And that test is the mirror of identity. Number 2, rejection is a mirror. Most people think rejection shows them what they lack. They believe, if they walked away, maybe I wasn't good enough. If that door closed, maybe I didn't deserve it. But rejection isn't a reflection of weakness. It's a revelation of becoming. Think of a mirror. It doesn't create your image. It only reveals what was already there. Rejection works the same way. It doesn't define you. It reveals you. Picture standing before a mirror after years of dust on your face. At first, the reflection feels harsh, but it isn't cruel. It's honest. It shows what must be washed away so your true face can shine. When people reject or criticize you, they're often reacting to the truth of who you are, not to a lie about who you aren't. Here's the paradox. Your light irritates those still living in darkness. Your authenticity unsettles those hiding behind masks. Your truth makes others uncomfortable because it confronts the false identities they built for themselves. So rejection rarely means you are less. It means you are more awake, more aligned, more authentic than those around you. Have you noticed this? Times when you simply spoke truth or walked in integrity, and suddenly people pulled back. It wasn't because you were wrong. It was because your presence acted like a mirror, and they couldn't handle the reflection. Think about light shining into a dark room. Dust that was invisible suddenly becomes visible. Light didn't create the dust, it revealed it. Your presence often does the same. That's why you cannot dim your identity just to fit in. If you water down your light for acceptance, you stop being the mirror God intended you to be, and the world loses clarity it desperately needs. Rejection in this phase asks, will you stand in your true identity, even when it costs belonging? It's not easy. Every human heart craves acceptance, but chosen ones are set apart. You are not called to blend in. You are called to reflect heaven's image on earth. And mirrors don't choose what they reflect. They simply reveal. Your role isn't to convince people to accept you. Your role is to stay polished and clear, so when others look at you, they glimpse something beyond you, the image of the one who sent you. Here's the truth. You don't need their validation to confirm your identity. Heaven already validated you before rejection ever arrived. Rejection may push you into solitude, but solitude sharpens clarity, and clarity carries power. So instead of asking, why don't they like me? Ask, what part of me is God revealing through this? Instead of saying, what's wrong with me? Say, what truth is rising in me that others can no longer ignore? When you reframe rejection as a mirror, it stops being about loss. It becomes revelation. God showing you, this is who you are becoming. This is who I've called you to be. And once you embrace that identity, rejection becomes a compass. It doesn't just point away from where you don't belong. It points toward where you are meant to thrive. But here's where the journey deepens. Because rejection isn't only about people. Sometimes it comes through places, through opportunities that never open, through doors that stay locked no matter how hard you knock. And in those moments, you need to see the truth. Closed doors are not failures. They are divine redirects. Number 3, closed doors are not failures. They are divine redirects. Have you ever stood before a locked gate, pushing with all your strength, only to discover later that another door, already open, was waiting just around the corner? That's how rejection often works. A no from people is not always a no from heaven. Sometimes it's heaven saying, not here, not now, look again. Think of a GPS. When you miss a turn, it doesn't shut down. It recalculates and reroutes you to the same destination by another path. Closed doors function the same way. They don't erase your calling. They redirect you to the road that can carry it. The problem is many chosen ones waste years knocking on closed doors. They beg for entry, convinced it's the only way forward. But God already sees what's on the other side, and He knows it cannot hold the weight of your destiny. So He shuts it, not to harm you, but to protect you from settling for less. Look at Joseph, betrayed by brothers, sold into slavery, thrown into prison. Every door seemed to slam, yet each one pushed him closer to the palace. If any had stayed open, he might have lived an ordinary life, forgotten in Canaan. Instead, rejection positioned him for rulership. Think about your own story. Jobs you didn't get, relationships that never blossomed, opportunities that looked perfect but slipped away. In the moment, it felt like failure. But wasn't each no eventually followed by a greater yes, a better fit, a breakthrough you never saw coming? That's the mystery of closed doors. They sting at first, but they secure your destiny. Here's the truth. Rejection is not destruction. It's redirection. When you embrace that, fear loses its grip. A closing door no longer breaks you, it builds you. It strengthens your faith. It forces you to look higher and deeper than before. Joseph's story proves it. Each locked room became the path to his throne. And the same is true for you. Every denied opportunity has the potential to redirect you toward your purpose. But let's get personal. Because while missed jobs or lost opportunities can hurt, there's a deeper kind of rejection, one that cuts far closer. It doesn't come from strangers. It comes from those you trusted most. And when it arrives, it doesn't just test your plans. It tests your very heart. And that brings us to the next level of rejection, the betrayal test. Number 4. Betrayal is the most painful form of rejection, yet often the most necessary for destiny. Rejection from strangers hurts, but betrayal from those you love feels like a dagger. It shakes your heart. It makes you question everything. If even they turned against me, who can I trust? But betrayal isn't the end. It's often the turning point. Look at Joseph. His own brothers stripped him of his coat, the symbol of favor, and sold him into slavery. To Joseph, life seemed over. But what he couldn't see was that betrayal was the vehicle of destiny. Without it, he never would have reached Egypt, the very place where his calling unfolded. Betrayal was brutal, but it was strategic. And the same is true for you. The gossip, the lies, the abandonment, they thought they were hurting you. But heaven was using them to push you toward your palace. Let's be real. Betrayal doesn't just bruise the heart, it can scar the soul. And scars carry voices. They whisper, "You'll never trust again, you'll never love again, you'll never risk again." But here's the prophetic truth. Your scar is not proof of defeat. It's proof of survival. You didn't die in that betrayal. You're still standing. And if you're standing, your destiny is still alive. Picture a seed buried in soil. Darkness presses it down and it looks forgotten. But in reality, the pressure activates growth. The soil that covered it becomes the force that makes it rise. In the same way, betrayal may have pressed you down, but it positioned you to break through. Think about it. The very people who left you, the very rejection that seemed to crush you, became the reason you discovered strength you didn't know you had. You thought you couldn't survive it, but now you see, it made you. And here's the decision. Will you let betrayal make you bitter or better? Bitterness ties you to the wound. Betterment releases you into destiny. Joseph never wasted time chasing revenge. He never begged his brothers for apologies. He trusted God's hand in betrayal. And in time, the same brothers bowed before him. That's what happens when you let God vindicate instead of trying to vindicate yourself. So stop chasing closure from people who betrayed you. Stop waiting for them to explain, to validate your pain. Your closure is not in their words, it's in God's plan. And here's the reward of trusting Him with betrayal. What was meant to destroy you becomes the very proof you were chosen. But betrayal isn't the final test, because there is a deeper kind of rejection, one that doesn't just shake your relationships, it shakes your faith. And when that comes, you'll discover whether your trust was in people or in God alone. Number 5. Rejection refines your faith. If betrayal shakes your heart, rejection tests your faith. Because when doors keep closing, when people walk away, when the yes never comes, the real question rises. Do I still trust God when nothing makes sense? Faith isn't tested in easy seasons. It's tested in silence, in delays, in unanswered prayers. Think of gold in fire. Flames rise, heat intensifies, and impurities surface. That's what rejection does to your faith. It exposes hidden doubts. It forces you to confront fears you thought were buried. And in that fire, what is fragile burns away, leaving a faith that cannot be shaken. Here's the mystery. God doesn't allow rejection to harm you, but to strengthen you. He wants to take fragile faith and forge it into a foundation nothing can break. Have you noticed this? The more rejection you endured, the deeper your dependence on God became. The more people turned away, the more you prayed. The more doors closed, the louder your worship grew. That wasn't weakness, that was refinement. Here's the truth to anchor in your spirit. The more they reject you, the more heaven affirms you. Rejection strips away human approval so you can finally stand on divine affirmation. And once you taste that, once you realize God's yes outweighs every human no, your faith becomes unmovable. Think of David, overlooked by his own family. When Samuel came to anoint a king, Jesse didn't even call David into the room. To his father, he was invisible, but in heaven's eyes, he was already chosen. His faith, forged in solitude with sheep, became the faith that killed giants and led a nation. Your rejection works the same way. It's forcing you to lean not on applause, not on invitations, not on titles, but on God alone. And when your faith is anchored in Him, no one can move you. But let's be honest, the fire is hot. The silence is painful. Some nights you wonder if God forgot you. Some mornings you wake up with tears instead of strength. That's the refining process. It's not meant to destroy you. It's meant to reveal you. The question is, will you quit in the middle of the fire or endure until the gold of your faith shines? Here's the reward. Those who endure rejection without losing faith carry an authority that can't be faked. Their words carry weight. Their prayers carry power. Their presence carries heaven. Why? Because they know what it means to walk through the fire and come out purified. So let me ask you, what rejection is pressing your faith right now? Instead of resenting it, can you see it as refinement, not as an end, but as the process shaping you into who you were always meant to be? Because here's the truth. Rejection will not break you. It will build you. It is preparing you for the doors that will open, for the calling that will unfold, for the destiny waiting to be revealed. But there's one more stage, the deepest, most painful, and most powerful of all. A rejection that doesn't just test your faith, it activates your destiny. Number 6, the ultimate rejection is the clearest sign of your destiny. Every chosen one in history faced it. A moment when rejection wasn't about a friendship ending or an opportunity lost, but about standing in truth, about carrying a light too bright to be ignored. Think about Jesus. Scripture says He was the stone the builders rejected, the very cornerstone of God's plan, yet cast aside by the very leaders who should have recognized Him. What man rejected, God exalted. That stone became the foundation of everything. This is destiny activation. When rejection comes not because you failed, but because you carry something heaven placed inside you. And this is where the battle feels fiercest. Because rejection at this level isn't just losing friends or comfort. It's walking into rooms heavy with misunderstanding. It's carrying a calling that isolates you, yet refuses to let you go. Here's the paradox. The rejection that hurts the most is also the one that proves the most. If people can't embrace you for standing in truth, it's because heaven already embraced you for carrying it. Have you noticed this? The more you step into who you really are, the more resistance rises. That's not coincidence. That's confirmation. Ultimate rejection is ultimate validation. It means your destiny has been activated. It means you're carrying something too sacred, too powerful, too set apart to fit ordinary spaces. Picture a crown placed on the head of a king. The crown is heavy. It presses down. It leaves a mark. Rejection is that crown. It feels weighty. It leaves scars. But it proves you've been set apart to reign in the assignment given to you. That's why this stage shifts your focus. You stop living for the acceptance of people and start living for the audience of one. You stop waiting for approval and start moving because you're already approved. And here's the reward. When you embrace rejection as activation, destiny begins to unfold in ways you could never engineer. Opportunities find you. Favor follows you. Doors open without you knocking. Because rejection cleared the path for what heaven intended all along. Not everyone will understand this stage. Not everyone will celebrate it. That's why it's the narrow road. That's why only the chosen endure it. Because this rejection doesn't just test your patience, it shapes your identity. This is why you've felt misunderstood your whole life, why you never quite fit in, why your gifts went unnoticed. It wasn't random. It was preparation. God setting you apart for such a time as this. So the next time you're rejected for being who you are, don't shrink. Don't hide. Don't apologize for your light. Wear that rejection as a crown, because it proves you're carrying what others could not. And here's the revelation I promised from the beginning. You're not being rejected because you're worthless, but because you're priceless. Not because you're ordinary, but because you're extraordinary. Not because you're weak, but because you're marked. This is why people reject you, because God is protecting your destiny. But this isn't the end, it's only the beginning. Because once destiny is activated, the mission begins. And in the conclusion, you'll see how to carry this truth into every step ahead. You didn't find this message by accident. Every rejection, every closed door, every betrayal, none of it was random. It was heaven's strategy to shape you, protect you, and align you with a destiny greater than you can see right now. Think about it. The friendships that dissolved, the opportunities that slipped away, the silence that left you wondering why no one chose you. All of it was God's hand, not punishing you, but preparing you. Not excluding you, but setting you apart. This is where your perspective must shift. Rejection was never rejection. It was redirection. It was refinement. It was protection. The stone the builders rejected became the cornerstone. And just like that cornerstone, your rejection is becoming the foundation of your calling. So stop seeing yourself as abandoned. Stop replaying who left, what ended, or what never opened. Start declaring, if it closed, it wasn't mine. If they left, they weren't meant for my journey. If I was rejected, heaven redirected me. Now is the time to walk differently, to carry yourself with the confidence of someone who knows they are chosen, to stop apologizing for the light inside you, to stop waiting for permission to step into purpose. Rejection already gave you permission. Permission to rise, to grow, to become. And let me ask you directly, what will you do with this revelation? Will you keep seeing rejection as an enemy, or will you embrace it as a mentor? Will you stay stuck at doors that will never open, or will you step onto the path waiting for you? The truth is simple, not everyone will understand. Not everyone will celebrate your becoming, but they don't need to. You were never chosen by the crowd, you were chosen by God. And if you've watched this far, it means your spirit recognizes that truth. Heaven is confirming it in you right now. Your destiny is protected, and no rejection can cancel it. So if this word spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with another chosen one who needs this reminder. Let them see that what looks like rejection is actually protection. And I want you to mark this moment with a declaration. Type it in the comments right now. I am stepping into my destiny. Because when you speak it, you activate it. And don't stop here. This is only the beginning. Click on the next video waiting for you on the screen. There's another revelation you cannot afford to miss.